Hello, human geographers. We are back at it again this evening. Tonight, we're going to look at cities across the world. We're going to examine the biggest cities and some reasons why they're that large. The largest city in the world is Tokyo in Japan, with a population of 37 million people living in the greater metropolitan area, followed by New Delhi in India with 29 million. But that hierarchy won't remain that way for long. Developing regions, countries in the periphery and semi-periphery, are growing significantly faster. In fact, 90% of urban growth today is occurring in the developing world. This is largely driven by rural to urban migration, as many people move to cities for economic opportunities in the secondary and tertiary sectors. As a result, cities have grown considerably in size. While more than half of the world's population lives in cities, people are increasingly clustering in just a few cities that become massive. These are often called megacities, or cities with 10 million or more residents. These megacities are classified purely by population size, not on their level of development, standard of living, influence, or any other measure. So now, let's look at megacity growth over time. In 1950, only 2 urban areas were considered megacities, and those were New York in the United States and Tokyo. It took another 25 years until 1975 to add a third megacity. But by 1990, that number had increased to 10. By 2018, it had more than tripled to 33 megacities and is expected to hit 43 by 2030 and 50 by 2035. And since much of the urban growth is happening in developing regions, most of these new megacities will be there as well, especially in Asia and Africa. And there has emerged a new designation, meta-city. These are cities with more than 20 million residents. And as of 2020, there were 9 metropolitan areas that had reached meta-city status, with 8 of those 9 being in periphery or semi-periphery countries. And while these are interesting quantitative facts, their significance lies in the challenges that rapid population growth presents. Many of these developing areas struggle with unplanned growth of cities, and many new migrants end up living in extreme poverty in peripheral slums without adequate housing or basic services. And while many people move to these cities for economic opportunities, the population often grows faster than the economy, so many people are left unemployed. So as these cities continue to expand in population, their footprint typically expands as well. This is known as urban sprawl, which is the unrestricted growth over large expanses of land of low-density housing, commercial development, and roads that surround many urban areas without urban planning. This growth is often unchecked, leading to many of the problems that we mentioned with megacities. But urban sprawl is most prevalent in cities that grew up with automobiles. American urban areas like Phoenix and Las Vegas, Dallas and Atlanta have all experienced significant urban sprawl. Notice that the urban footprint of Phoenix, with a population of about 5 million, is the same size as the footprint of Mexico City, a meta-city of more than 20 million people. Las Vegas, with a population of 2 million, has a footprint the same size as Jakarta, whose population is certainly a megacity and may actually exceed meta-city status as well. So why have American cities experienced significantly more urban sprawl than cities with much larger populations. The driving force has been the mass migration of Americans to the suburbs, a process known as suburbanization. Suburbanization is the movement of upper and middle class people from urban core areas to the surrounding outskirts to escape pollution as well as deteriorating social conditions, whether they are perceived or actual. In North America, the process has become a mass phenomenon by the second half of the 20th century due to the decentralization of cities and automobile dependency. Early suburbs were limited by transportation systems like trolleys and streetcars. But after World War II, several things changed. Factories shifted to peacetime production and began to mass produce automobiles rather than tanks and planes. The United States government invested in an interstate highway system that made it more efficient for more people to live farther from the central city. At the same time, many families became dual-income households. Many servicemen went to college, and employment rates for women increased. Combined with rapid home construction on cheap land with flexible mortgage terms, many people bought their first new home. At the same time, the baby boom began as servicemen returned from the war, and so families were looking for additional space. All these factors contributed to the rapid growth of suburbs in the United States. Early suburbs were primarily residential, pulling families to communities that were spacious and lacking the perceived ills of urban areas like crime. As time progressed, though, many businesses were attracted to the suburbs as well. The central business district was losing its influence as more people fled to the suburbs. So activities that traditionally located in the CBD began to disaggregate or spread out to the cheaper land on the periphery of urban areas. These suburban branch offices were also closer to the workforce, so it was beneficial to the employer, the employee, and to many customers. But not everyone. Lower income families remained in the central city. But as wealthier families moved out to the suburbs, so did their tax revenue. So public services in cities like schools and police forces declined. And now, 95% of transportation in the United States is by personal automobile, which means more traffic, longer commutes, and an increase in air pollution. And as suburbs have grown, new types of communities have emerged. The most prominent of these new communities are called edge cities. An edge city is a key new concept of a modern city. They combine all of the functions of a central business district, but are located in the suburbs and provide more jobs than homes. So an edge city is a concentration of business centers, shopping districts, corporate headquarters, and entertainment that are typical of an urban center, but are actually located in the suburbs. Tyson's Corner in Virginia is one of the most common examples of an edge city. Located outside of Washington, D.C., where several major highways intersect, nearly 5 times more people work in Tyson's Corner than actually live there. Then there are boomburgs, which are rapidly growing, sprawling cities of more than 100,000 residents, living in planned communities. While boomburgs have significant populations, they're not the core city in their urban area. Henderson, Nevada is considered a boomburg of the Las Vegas metro area. Going back to the 2000 census, it was identified as a boomburg, having more than 175,000 residents, and we currently have more than 300,000 people living here. Mesa, Arizona, outside of Phoenix, Anaheim, California of the greater Los Angeles urban area, and Plano, Texas outside of Dallas are all prominent examples of boom burbs. Finally, we finish up tonight by talking about the farthest reaches of suburbanization, communities that are called EXURBs. EXURBs are semi-rural, very low density residential communities that are often occupied by wealthy families. We find them near farmland or beaches or mountains with a very different lifestyle than what we consider as urban. And part of what has given rise to EXURBs is the development of technology. The internet has made telecommuting and online shopping so easy that many wealthy individuals are able to remain connected to urban life while living far from it. And that will do it for tonight, folks. I appreciate your attention, and we'll discuss these concepts more when we return to class. Have a good evening, geographers.